Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. What's up, folks? What's going on?
What's up, dude? How you feel?
Good. All right. First one's going to go to Demetrius. Obviously, you're the one that got a lot of people buzzing. The first thing I always say, for having done this for a long time, is, can the brother act? Then it was like, oh, you put him to school. And then I saw the episodes and I go, this kid got potential. So talk to me about, 50 Cent wanting you to play your father. And were you ready to do this?
At the time, I wasn't ready because he got me when I was just graduating high school and I didn't know what I was going to do in my life at the time. So I was just learning myself, I feel like. And he put me in acting classes and it changed my life because acting classes that I was in were intense, 5 days a week, 2 times a day, and really teaching me the foundation of acting and really living in unimaginary circumstances, really tying my emotional life from when my dad got taken away from me and all the emotional stuff I went through in my life, tying it to real acting. And once I understood that 50 really helped me understand acting before I could play my dad. So once I understood that, I could fall into my character easily, and betterly. So I felt like it was meant to be in my life. It was like the journey is what got me here and is what got me so comfortable, I feel like. So it was amazing. Just 50, I thank him every time I talk to him for putting me in classes and believing in me before anybody else did. Because if I didn't learn how to act, I wouldn't know how to pay my dad and I wouldn't be able to be in the position I am right now. So it was amazing.
And davinchi, you're coming in here and, you've got Randy to tell you a story. You got Demetrius to tell you a story, so how much research did you do without the benefit of these guys?
Yeah, I did a lot of research on my own, and I watched every interview that I could on Terry and Meech. And, the dopest part about this was being able to, have Meech directly connected to the family, and which was a blessing, and which I couldn't see the series being made any other way. Having him in my back pocket to really just call and ask him anything was just great. And Randy, Randy was in prison just talking to Big Meech about everything and hearing everything and getting an inside scoop from them and talking to Terry as well. So it's like we had all that knowledge. And I also talked to Big Meech myself. I talked to Southwest T myself. So we literally had the right play to execute. So at this point, it's like, it was no way we could have messed up unless we was just fumbling the ball, just purposely, just wilding out and just not doing it. But we had everything to really execute and do well.
And Randy, you've got the toughest task of humanizing these individuals. At the end of the day, a lot of people know who these guys were, Fed magazines, whatever, these are, and they're still alive. You know what I'm saying? And so, you've got the task of putting together their story and there's always going to be oh, we glorifying violence and so forth. Oh, no, there's another side to it, So how much went into telling the story that people know and telling the other story that what people don't know?
First of all, I think everyone in my writer's room, we took every aspect of telling this story very seriously. There were a lot of discussion and debates that went into each, decision. The reality is that tragedies, happen in the streets, you know what I mean? And we wanted to stay true to that world and not shy away from it. But yet at the same time, the more I researched, the Flenory family and got to know Demetrius and started to meet Miss Lucille and Nicole and Terry, the more I've seen some similarities in my own life. They grew up in a Christian household, you know what I mean? So Meech would say the Bible was open on the same verse. They always said prayer. So then I started to see myself in them. You know what I mean? And I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell a universal story about family, brotherhood, and love. You know what I mean? And if we are able to do that, I think audiences, no matter what your economics, no matter what your racial situation is, I think you'll be able to tap into this and find something that's entertaining first, because we are, creators, but also something that is enlightening, because at the end of the day, I really want people to see these two gentlemen, the humanity in these two gentlemen, and understand they were just in an unfortunate situation and made the best choice they could. in their pursuit of the American dream. And to have Demetrius and davinchi here, that is the American dream. Despite what they did, Meech and Terry made those decisions. And because of those decisions, Demetrius Jr., who had never acted, got the opportunity and knocked it out of the park. And now he has a career of his own. What better example of the American dream is there than this?
Demetrius, I'm curious, did you know most of the stuff that we're going to see on screen beforehand, like growing up, or did your father tell you this as the series was going to go up, and like now you're learning stuff about your dad? Did you really didn't know as a kid growing up?
Right, that definitely is 100% what it was, because my dad always told me stories, about his life, but he never really told me how he grew up and how it was. Like, I knew they were poor, but I didn't know that he used to wear holes in his shoes going to school and just different things like that, where his mom and dad were working 2 and 3 jobs and couldn't pay the bills. So it was a whole bunch of different stuff that I didn't even have a clue, didn't know, that I had to learn about as I was playing the character, So talking to him and him telling me everything they faced back then, growing up 16, 17 years old, it was crazy, because it's not the regular 16, 17-year-old's life that they were living. So I learned a lot about them that I didn't know.
And davinchi, when you do a series like this, obviously, the good thing about it's not a movie, but it's an episode, and a lot of people are going to discover all you guys. How have you grown as an actor as you did episode for episode?
Oh, that is a great question. This was one of the most strenuous boot camp an actor could possibly go through, and I learned so much. I think I evolved into, like, before I thought I was good, but it's like now it's like it's a whole nother level. The way I look at material, just break it down, and like how I look at characters and all the stuff that you can do within the frame. It's like, it's just crazy, and how I could use certain emotions and go on and off, and how, just studying off of Wood and how he had listening eyes, and how Steve Harris and Wood and Russell, they're always doing something in the scene, they're always, it's like they stay committed and locked in a certain way. And I was just peeping game and watching that. So being blessed to be in that environment definitely made me a monster. And I think in future projects, people are definitely gonna see, like, wow, this kid like really evolved.
And Randy, just to finish it off, you've got a good cast of directors. Can you talk about Tasha, doing these episodes? We've seen her grow. I would say grow, because she's been doing this for a good minute now. You say, can you talk about her skills as a director, especially doing the first 2 episodes?
Absolutely. I've known Tasha for years now, from our days working together on Starz. So I would say she grew. You know what I mean? And I would say I grew from this. First of all, I could not have had a better, co-pilot, doing this, because basically what I did when she came on, I told her, what we're trying to do with this project is we're trying to elevate the landscape of TV. I mean, so once I told her that, she, went in her bag and, twirled it up. And then she came back at me and said she wants to tell a romanticized version of these 2 urban giants, much like you see romanticized tales of, like, Italians, The Godfather, Casino, whatever. So that was our attempt. And in the process of doing that, the first thing she did was she started to push me and actors that weren't even really, on my radar at that point. Like, everybody knows Russell, but I didn't think we could get Russell Hornsby for this. I've seen Nicole Brianna White, you know what I mean? But I didn't think we could get her for this, as well as Steve and Wood. But I like to mention a name that Tasha pushed on me, and it's a name that, for me, listen, I think our entire cast is fantastic, but I think Eric Kofi Abreva is going to blow people's socks off. You know what I mean? And that was specifically Tasha who introduced me to him. So, not to mention that she was responsible for the look of the show. You know what I mean? For the visual aesthetics. So every aspect of this, it was a partnership. And I, honest to God, we could not have done this show and have this show look the way it looks without her. That's hands down. That is not no joke. She came in And, you know, she's an actress, so she pushed her actors to get those performances. But at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's not how you get there, it's the end result. And I'm very happy with her being on board to direct the pilot, the second episode, as well as episode 8 to take us home in the finale.
People are looking forward to seeing this. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I will see you hopefully when you come down to New York. If not, I'll be watching week after week.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Appreciate
Take care,
you.
folks.